What's going on, people? Welcome to Comics for this impromptu live stream. Today, we are going to open up a CGC box. Oftentimes, these are long-awaited treasures that our UPS or FedEx carriers deliver to us. Today, I have mixed feelings about this particular package. But I'll get to that in 1 second. Thank you guys so much for watching. My name is Matt or Matty. You can find me at Instagram at Comic Sales. Most of you know me from there. And yeah, I'm trying to do some more videos each week. If you can like the video and subscribe, that's greatly appreciated. And you can be alerted every time new content drops. I've got a few videos kind of in the can, so to speak, that are going to be coming out shortly. And yeah, so without further ado, for people watching on the replay, I'm going to open up this box. Let me tell you a little bit of a story, a little bit further ado. Basically, this box was originally delivered to me in April of this year, 2021. That is about 5 months ago. I was younger then, more so in the middle of COVID rather than late COVID resurgence. That was a good time. That was a good time in our hobby, April 2021. That was before the peak, I would say, of the market. What's going on, Dwayne? Thanks for joining the live stream. Appreciate it, buddy. So yeah, I was just telling this little story, Dwayne, about this here box. Showed up about 5 months ago. And this was the box, guys. These 5 books in this here box that we're about to see was the box that broke me. Okay, what's going on, Southern Comic Geek? Good to see you. This was the box that broke me. That should have been the YouTube tag. I might edit that later. The box that broke me. This was the box. What's in the box? This was the box that got me off of CGC for good. It's true. I decided after opening this box 5 months ago that I would never, ever submit to CGC again. I know those are strong words. I reserve the right to change my stance on CGC. I will say that the last shipment I got back from CGC after 5 months waiting or whatever it was a 25 book pre-screen that I ran a gauntlet on, or I threw a gauntlet on, whatever you call it when you get 25 out of 25. I got that. And luckily, all 25 of those slabs were pristine, uncracked, unscuffed, no Newton rings, no shaking in the slabs that I could really tell. So I do think that their quality control, they are trying to make adjustments to their increased volume, and I think that they are improving. So that's a good thing. Back 5 months ago, I was not feeling optimistic about it. I felt like they didn't care about our business. They didn't care about their quality control, and they were just going to do whatever they wanted because they already had our business. And I felt very, I felt a certain way about it. I felt a little hot about these books coming back in the condition that they came back in. You might remember, some of you, I did a live video on Instagram at that time to do this live unboxing for these books. So this is a second round. It took this long to get these back, 5 months. That's one of the things I was pissed about, was like, if you mess up these books this much, these books that I really cared about, at least one of them I really cared about, at least let's get a little hustle, guys. Can we get a little hustle on this? Like, okay, we'll send them back to you as they're ready, sir. Yes, we're on top of it. You know what I mean? Southern says, story checks out. Same here. Maybe one day CGC will get better. Maybe. I'm not holding my breath. That's why I have like 200 books with CBCS right now, which I'm also waiting a long time for, but that's another story for another time. So I'm going to open these up, and I will tell you as we go what the original problems with these books were. And we're going to hope, we're going to cross our fingers. Cross your fingers for me, guys, that we don't have any more issues with these books. All right, so let's get into it. I think one of these books was for a client slash buddy of mine who bought a book off my auction, and then you know, whoa, I'm doing this really badly. I'm just like taking it out and trying to palm it in my hand, and they're all coming apart. So let's not have an accident on my watch, shall we? Let's care for these a little bit. Wow, I'm doing this so badly, guys. This is like the worst unboxing I've ever seen. I was just expecting them to hold together a little better. Let's not have any unforced fouls. You know what I mean? Michael Carmen says, I want first dibs on the you know what book. Mikey has his eyes on a certain book in here. The one that I really care about. The thing about it, Mikey, is that this is my only copy of this book. You know, I am a seller, but I am a fan of Miles Morales. You know what I mean? So there's a special book in here. It's my only copy. That's why I was so tight. I was so tight with CGC when they messed it up so bad. And I really think this is an interesting example, guys, because, you know, in the past, sometimes CGC, you know, you hear the horror stories you hear when you hear horror stories. You don't hear much about accountability. You don't hear much about, you know, corrective measures or anything like that. So I do have some of that to share with this experience. Some positive things about the experience. It could have been better, but it could have been a lot worse. Okay, so let's take a look at what we have here. All right, I'm gonna go sort of order of excitement here. It's a surprise to me unless the slabs are like super fucked up. So I'm just gonna go through these. Okay, so all of these 5 books had different issues. I'm gonna take them out of the bag. We're gonna look them over before I show them to you. Okay, this one was just a really simple issue. It was a, you know, Turtles 112. Oh, just in time for the Christmas season. Glad to have this one back. This is Turtles 112, the Shellheads United Edition with the turtles in Santa hats and whatever. Great for the holidays. It just had a crack. I think it had a crack in the slab. You know, nothing really extraordinary for this one, but it was like the first of 5 where I was like, okay, sending it back for a reholder. And then it just got worse from there, right? Okay, next up we have 1 of 2 copies of ENIAC #1. Now, another reason I was so tight. I'm hearing a little bit of give here. Mikey says, take the money they gave back to you. You're spoiling it, Mikey. Take the money they gave back to you and buy a raw. Also, as a Miles collector, you need my 1 in 100 Pacelli. I'm not going to argue with you. Make a trade, buddy. You know the book's on the table. This might be on the table. This book might be on the table in our trade. Just saying. I do a lot of trading and dealings with my friend Mikey Carmen. So, okay, this slab seems okay. But this is 1 of 2 copies of ENIAC #1 first print. Do you guys remember what these were selling for back then in April of 2021 or March of 2021? This was a $600 9.8 at a time. I don't think it's that way anymore, but both myself and my client friend both had 9.8s come back that were both messed up. One of them had a floating piece of plastic in the back of it, which is, again, like kind of a run-of-the-mill problem to have happen sometimes with a CGC slab. Not the end of the world, but it's the, with this particular batch of 5 books, it was the accumulation and the variety of issues. It's like every single book had a different issue that made me want to send it back. You know, first one, cracked slab. Second one, floating little plastic in it. And then there was a copy of ENIAC that was completely missized inside the well of the book. Okay, it was literally in the wrong slab holder. Okay, and they had bent it over the edge of the slab so you could see the whole book. Sorry, you could see the whole book bowing like this way, like it was doing a backflip in the slab. I was like, what the hell is this? Like, clearly when they were hiring all these people, like off, you know, who knows where, they were not training. What I was able to identify with these 5 books, if nothing else, was, first of all, quality control was severely lacking. Second of all, welcome to the 9 people watching in the chat. I appreciate you guys for stopping in. Second of all, there was this huge discrepancy between the care that the grader was putting into the book. Clearly, they're a professional. They're grading the book. They're assigning it a grade, and then it's going in a slab. But clearly, the people grading the book are not the people encapsulating the book. A grader who knows what a 9.8 and a 9.9 is and all this shit, knows everything about grading supposedly, would never put a modern comic book of a standard size into a mismatching well of a holder and just say, okay, looks good, 9.8 in the holder, done, right? That's not a professional encapsulating that slab. It's not an experienced person encapsulating the slab. So that is one of my main takeaways, is that they were not training the people that they were hiring to encapsulate the books. And therefore, not only are they making all this room for error, like for all these disasters to happen, but also they're nullifying their own grade. Okay, you can't call a book that's bending over in the slab a 9.8. You just can't do it. And that will be my biggest reveal. The 5th book I'm going to show you is going to be the worst offender of the 5. Okay, so luckily, both of the ENIACs ended up still a 9.8. They look fine. So that was sort of a casualty avoided. But like I said, the FMV of those books is like a quarter of what they were when I originally got them back. So technically, I feel they owe me something in the difference of those values, but that's not really how it works. Unfortunately, I couldn't really make a case for that. Okay, another one where the value was way, way, way higher. And by the way, these 3 books, the 2 ENIACs and the Berserker 1 per store, yeah, this one I don't think they didn't even bother to reholder this one. They just said, nope, it looks fine. This one just had like scuffing on the back. I don't know if you can really see it, but it's got a streak up here and some fogginess on the black in the back here. I don't think they reholdered it. I think they just said, okay, we agree with you on these other ones, but this one is just going to be how it is. So, is it that big of a deal to just ship it back to me so I can actually have this in my collection, or do I have to wait 5 months to get this back in the same condition I sent it to you in April, right? Okay, now here's the last one. So those 3 moderns, the 1 per store Berserker, the 2 ENIAC #1 first prints, those were expedited, like fast track, the fastest we could get them back, paid for that for nothing. Got him back 5 months later. Okay. Last book. Here it is, guys. This is an Ultimate Fallout. Wait, let me show you. So no facsimile. This is the Ultimate Fallout 4 first appearance of Miles Morales, right? Now I get to do a little grade reveal for you guys here. Okay. I will tell you what it used to be. Okay. This used to be a 9.6. Okay, this was the copy of Ultimate Fallout 4 that I intended to keep in my personal collection as my one major, holding and major investment in Miles, as a fan, as a collector, as an investor, as a seller, the one I was going to choose not to sell. And I pressed it myself, and I had a lot of emotional attachment to it, shall we say. So I get it back in a 9.6, and I did think it had a 9.8 chance, by the way. It was a solid 9.8 contender. So I'm not going to cry over a 9.6, but I look it over, and it has... Whew, wow, okay, they're really pushing it here. It has... am I going to get even more heated here? Basically... yeah, the book's fucked up, and they know it, and they pressed it. Basically, the only way to communicate with them when you send stuff back to them, you call on the phone, and they're like, well, just write a note to them in handwriting, write a note to the graders saying what the issues are. So I wrote this like 2-page handwritten note. I don't know if they're reading it. I don't know if they've gotten the message. I don't know if they agree with what I'm saying, but ultimately they mainly agreed with everything I said. I said to them, this book in the case as it is not a 9.6. There was clearly a mistake in handling between when the book was graded and when it was encapsulated. Because on the back of this book, I'm going to try not to show you the grade. On the back of the book, there was finger marks or like color breaking indentations on the back bottom edge of the book. And they did improve those. Because what I said was, I am requesting a CCS pressing of the book. You can kind of see them there. You can see color breaks if you look closely. But also this book is scuffed. The case is scuffed down here. There's something going on in the clear bottom of the case right there. Whatever that's about. So there's something going on the book, and it needed a press. If it was going to come anywhere close to the grade that it was advertised, 9.6, it needed a press. Now, if I were just like a cynical seller who just wanted to just dump the book and let someone else have a book that isn't actually the grade that CGC says it is, I could have sold it as a 9.6 right on eBay. I could have just said, I'll take $1,200 for it. Thank you. Moved on, right? 1,000, whatever it was going for at the time. But I just couldn't deal with that. I was like, no, CGC is not going to get away with this. I don't want to put this on anybody else and have to explain. I don't know if it's really the grade that it says it is. You shouldn't have to do that. That's the whole point of a third-party grading system, right? So they pressed it, and they eventually emailed me back, and they said, you are right. The book was not the grade that we said it was because of a handling error. And we were not able to press it to the grade that we originally graded it. We were able to press it to this grade, 8.0 white. Okay? That means CGC admitted in writing that they encapsulated an 8.0 book, probably more like a 7.0 or 7.5, because this is pre-pressing. They encapsulated a 7.0 or 7.5 with a 9.6 label. They admitted it. Have it in writing. So I guess it's troubling, it's disturbing, but it is at least encouraging that they admitted it, they owned up to it. And basically what they did was they said, we're going to give you back your 8.0 book, and we're going to give you we're going to give you the full amount that you insured the raw book for when you sent it to us. And of course, now I had insured it for more. I insured $500. Okay. I know there's a lot, this is another sort of interesting point to discuss, is the amount that you insure it for with your grading company. I always thought you're insuring it for the raw value. And I've heard other people, like I think John and Richard over on Bronze and Modern, saying, no, you insure it for the estimated graded value. And I actually called them up. I call them all the time. Let's be honest. I call CGC all the time. I still have magazines I'm waiting for back from them. And I had a triple signed. Oh yeah, I can complain about that too. See that triple signed Batman 3 Jokers 1/450? It's damaged in a way that I didn't send it to them as. It's just another example. I mean, they had it for 9 months to get it triple signed in the midst of COVID. I should never have sent it in to a triple signing during COVID. It took forever. They damaged it. They admitted it. They said they're going to rectify it somehow. But that's like a square bound book I wouldn't send in if it wasn't 9.8, right? What's up, Daywalker? Yeah. Ouch. Damn. I know. Southern Comic. I know. Thank you for the sympathy, folks. I mean, I love having this book back. I'm glad to have it back in a slab. It's just, it's just not the book that I sent in. It's whatever. So let's see, back to the point about insurance. I called them and I said, are you supposed to claim insurance for the raw value or the graded value? And they say, well, somewhere in between. We recommend somewhere in between. So that is the official statement of CGC. They recommend that you insure it for somewhere in between. And it kind of makes sense because you don't want to be insuring everything for like a supposed 9.8 value. You know what I mean? If I sent this in thinking, oh, it has a chance for 9.8, I'm going to insure it for 3K, that wouldn't make any sense. If it's a $500 raw and it's a 3K max, maybe I should have insured it for 1,000. Maybe I should have insured it for 1,500. I don't know. But now that I know that this scenario might happen, I would, of course, have chosen to insure it for more, especially if it's within the same grading tier. You know what I mean? What's going on, Comics and Death Metal? Good to see you, buddy. So there's no reason not to insure it for at least the maximum within the tier that you're going for, right? In this case, I could have gotten a bunch more money back if I'd insured it for, I think it would have been up to like 1,000. So I could have gone 950, 900 something. And then I would have gotten all that money back instead of 500. In this case, I do feel okay about getting 500 back with the 8.0 because, you know, it's roughly equivalent to what a 9.6 would be worth. If I sold this right now, I could probably get 400 or 500 for it. And then I get the 500 cash, which equals roughly a 9.6 value. So that's my story, guys. Let me know what you think in the comments below or in the chat right now. If you guys have any thoughts about this, I'm going to read some of the comments here. Southern said, talk about horrible timing. It would have been great to have had that book to sell for what it was going for 5 months ago. Yeah, exactly. I think he's referring to one of the moderns. Southern said, I tried to make that case. I paid to fast track a book and it did come back fast. However, there was a hair in the case. Yeah, that happens a lot too. I told them I wanted the cost of my fast track back. Did they give you the fast track back? I'm curious, Southern, if they did. He says, you're fortunate they never owned up to detaching the cover to my first appearance of Havoc. It's rough, man. That's super rough. Yeah, I do feel somewhat fortunate. I think that it was, I was lucky in the sense that you could not dispute that the condition of the book itself was different than the grade on the case. That was really what my saving grace was. They didn't refund his fast pass. Yeah, they're usually pretty much sticklers about this kind of stuff. Like I think I probably asked for them to do something similar, like refund my fast tracks for the books that are now 6 months delayed. You know what I mean? I don't think they didn't even respond to any of those requests. But they did fork over the cash for the insured Ultimate Fallout 4. And they did admit that there was a handling error between when it was graded and when it was encapsulated. So that was my saving grace, that they acknowledged that there's no way to deny that, really. Otherwise, they have to say, yeah, we stand by that 9.6 grade when it had like huge indentation marks on the bottom of the book. Huge, like color breaking indentations that would never have been there for a 9.6 book. So guys, tell me what you think. How did I do? I'm glad to have 4 books now that I can actually enjoy or sell or whatever I want to do with them. My buddy can finally get his ENIAC #1 now that Bad Idea is like, you know, going out of business or changing their name or whatever. It's just ridiculous how, you know, I remember watching like a video with Dinesh Shandasani, who like runs Bad Idea. I remember he was like a guest on Flipside the week that there was a $600 sale for the ENIAC 9.8, and he's like a salesman, you know, so he's like, oh, it'll be that price in a month. No, wishful thinking, Dinesh. It's a hot book. There's nothing below it to sustain that kind of a value, unfortunately. But what are you gonna do? I have it now. I'll probably throw it up at a you know, low starting number auction or something, or you know, we'll see what happens. But I really appreciate you guys watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Thanks for watching live. Thanks for watching on the replay. I've got a couple other videos coming out later this week, some older mail calls and some theme topic videos and stuff. And I'll continue trying to put out content in the near future. So thanks a lot, guys. Be safe and see you in the next video.